Jitter
Son
job.
of a- Whoops. Come on.
Oh no.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head, okay? I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, reminding you that you are not alone. In a world where it's easy to feel invisible, I want you to know that you're not, and that I see you, okay? And speaking of not alone,
yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff.
Good
How
morning,
you doing?
Kim. Introduce yourself to everybody out there.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thanks, Jeff, for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, this is going to be fun today. So, my name is Kim Randall, and I'm a mom of 3, an Army veteran. Kind of grew up between Alaska and Washington State.
Awesome.
Yeah, came to Colorado here with the United States Army in 2004, and yeah, I enjoy hiking, snowboarding, playing poker, movies. Yeah, snowboarding is my thing. That's my jam. Get out there in that nature and enjoy that. So, yeah.
Nice. So you were you came to Colorado, and you were why did you come to Colorado?
Yeah, so I came to Colorado with the military. So I was in the United States Army. I joined in 1996 and was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. And then came here to Fort Carson. Yep.
Awesome. Well, okay. First, before we do anything, thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Man. Yeah. In Colorado Springs here, we have a lot of military bases, and so we have a lot of opportunities to see and thank a lot of military in around town, and I always do, because it's something I was never able to do. So
absolutely, we appreciate
it. Yes. So we're here. Why are we here today? We're talking about your daughter, MaKenna.
Correct. Yes.
Tell us about her.
Yeah. So MaKenna was born in 1999 with severe disabilities. She had a condition known as holoprosencephaly. So basically, that means 1 forebrain.
Wow.
So basically, that's where your brain is fused in the frontal lobes, and for her, she didn't have what's called a corpus callosum, which divides the left and right hemispheres of your brain, so they don't communicate with each other.
And say that again. I'm going to put it on the screen so people can see it.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Say that one more time.
That is holoprosencephaly. So exactly, it means 1 forebrain. Yep. Wow. So holo's 1, pros is 4, and encephaly's brain.
That is a mouthful.
It is.
And I'm sure you've spelled that for people how many millions of times.
Yeah, I don't know. In our world, it's known as HPE.
Oh, see, that's easier.
HPE is, yeah.
I can handle that.
Right.
Okay, thank God. Okay, there's always an acronym for stuff, right?
Absolutely.
In the medical
especially
community.
Medical, military.
There has to be, right? Military. You're all
Hotel Papa Echo. Exactly.
There you go. Oh man. Okay. So tell us about your experience, your daughter's experience with holoprosencephaly.
Absolutely. So with MaKenna, she was my first pregnancy. I was 21, young, afraid, living with my parents. I'd been married since I was 17, but yeah, we were still pretty young. So
well, that first pregnancy always freaks you out, no matter what.
Exactly.
It's always like terrifying.
Yep. And went to a typical OB appointment at 15 weeks, and my doctor, wisely I might add, suggested I go to another OB to get more ultrasounds. And so
there you go.
Yep. So we did that and found out basically that they at first didn't think she had a brain.
Oh.
And so
well, that's not great.
Right.
How did they not find a brain? How did they
there was like
how did they look and said, I don't think she has a brain.
Yeah, so when you did the ultrasound of the brain, all they saw was a bunch of black, which means there's a lot of fluid.
Oh, man.
So, but it did turn out that she had brain tissue. It was pretty much compressed against her skull.
Okay.
And so,
and this you found this out when was
15
like
weeks pregnant.
really early.
Yeah,
Oh,
15 weeks
man.
gestation.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, early on, very early on.
I mean, thank God for technology for stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, I had no idea how much you can find out in utero like that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing.
Good Lord.
So we continued down that path.
Yeah.
For me, abortion wasn't an option, even though the medical community pushed it quite a lot. And so I wanted to have her. And so because her head was actually this 2 to 3 times the normal size of an infant, I had to have a C-section.
Oh,
and so
boy.
Went through
because
that.
of the hydrocephalus?
Because of the hydrocephalus.
Yeah.
Her head was really big.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Absolutely. And so she was born at 36 weeks gestation, which is actually the most term of any of my kids. All my kids are early, and she's the oldest, so we started at 36.
Wow. All right.
She was actually pretty healthy. We were told initially that we'd be lucky if she lived through the birth, and if she did, it'd be about 2 hours that we'd have her.
Oh, man.
And so that's kind of how we went into it. You know, that.
So kind of like a punch in the face a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you know, we're brand new parents, and now we get this news.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what?
So so she was born, and she didn't have any facial defects, which is very common with holoprosencephaly.
Wow.
So you couldn't really see that there was anything wrong other than her really large head.
And then they probably, I'm guessing, for the hydrocephalus, shunted her.
They did it when
Which
she was 3 years old.
Oh,
Yep.
3. Oh, not
Or not 3.
3.
I'm sorry, 3 years old. 3 days old.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, 3 days.
That seems a lot more appropriate.
Right. So at 3
days.
Days old, they actually they would put a VP shunt.
Nice.
Yep. Just so as you know, it goes right here and comes down and goes into the abdomen.
I've had those.
Yeah.
Lots
of yes.
I know about VP shunts.
Right. And so actually within a couple weeks, her head came down. It's always going to be, big for an infant, but they actually said that it'll be small when she gets older. So she'd go
grow
from
into it,
having hydrocephalus and being microcephalic instead, and actually being a small head as she grew, because her bones began to fuse. And so her skull bones overlapped each other, starting within a couple weeks of life.
Oh my gosh! So the whole that little soft spot, the little what's that called again?
It's a fontanelle.
There it is.
Yep.
All this terminology. It's been a while. So and that's supposed to gradually
close
over weeks and what and
so hers
2 weeks.
Everything just closed and her bones were overlaid on each other.
Oh man. Okay.
But it allowed now her brain to build to rebound. So your brain's kind of like a sponge, and so it began to fill in the cranial vault, inside her head to see how much brain tissue she really had.
So that worked out though, because if it had been, flexible for as long as it's usually flexible,
right,
that would have been worse for her.
Possibly.
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, doesn't matter now. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious.
I mean, it's very possible.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It was definitely fascinating. But yeah, she went home at just a little over a week old. She had lots of seizures and lots of issues, but
so she wasn't in ICU or
she was in the NICU.
The NICU. Well, for a little bit, but I mean,
after
to go home a week after being born,
she did great.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, she was awesome. Her lungs were totally fine when she was born. Healthy otherwise, no heart problems, no GI problems.
Holy smokes.
So
that's amazing. So just out of curiosity, there's some for the live audience out there. I had never, before I met Kim, I had never heard of this before. Has anybody heard of this? Does anybody know anybody with HPE? I'm not even going to try and say it again. Comment. We'd love to chat with you and hear your comments. So, is it? You said there was no facial abnormalities or anything.
Right.
So it's normally not an invisible thing.
Correct.
You're saying it's normally comes with things like
lots of different things. Sometimes they have one nostril.
Oh.
Sometimes there's multiple eyes.
What?
Yep. Cleft lips, cleft palates are very, very common.
More than 2 eyes.
More than 2 eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, the Cyclops, the whole thing on TV,
Oh.
sci-fis, is actually a real thing.
It's a thing.
So if you actually Google holoprosencephaly and look at the images, they can be a little disturbing.
I didn't think it was real. I wasn't sure what I was looking at.
Yep. Yeah. Most of those kids have what's called the alobar.
Okay.
Holoprosencephaly. So there's multiple different types.
Holy
so
cow.
alobar is
how
the
many
most
times
severe.
How many types are there?
There's at least 4 that we're aware of.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. 4.
Yep.
So, and which type did she have?
So when she was born, they thought she had what's called middle interhemispheric fusion or variant, because you'll see it as MIHV now. When she was born, it was MIHF.
Mm-hmm.
And that just basically means the center of the brain's fused. So the front actually may have some separation. And then for MaKenna, she had a cyst in the rear of her brain, her occipital lobe. And so she only had one hemisphere that actually was there in the rear. And so for her, it looked like only the center was fused. Okay. And so they called it middle interhemispheric fusion or variant. But as she got older and her brain started to come in, they said she actually had semi-lobar.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So there's there's MIHF or V, and then lobar holoprosencephaly, which is very mild. So the MIHF kids, most of them you wouldn't know. Huh. They can speak, most of them can walk, they can eat. They have very little.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so for them it would be invisible too. It'd be pretty. I mean,
for the most part,
for the mild, they don't have the third eye and all the different facial things.
Exactly.
Okay, but your daughter didn't either, which
she did not. Yeah. And so lobar, semi-lobar, it just depends on the child. Some kids can walk, some kids can't. Some kids can do certain things. I've met I'm adult now. She's in her 30s probably.
Oh wow.
That has semi-lobar, and she can sit and she drinks out of a bottle and things like that.
That's amazing.
But it just depends.
So with the different types, you pointed out different ages and stuff. Like what's the normal age range for different types?
And so we don't, you never know. So alobars typically don't live through birth. Usually, they're born, they die within if they're not stillborn, they die within a few hours. Some have lived longer. I've heard of ones up to 1 or 2 years old that are still alive. And they technically really don't have a brain. They have a brain stem, which is probably what keeps them alive.
Sure.
But they don't really have a brain.
As far as like the nervous system.
Right.
Stimulate.
Yeah. And sometimes their heads are flat in the back because they don't really have a skull.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Very interesting.
That is.
And then, the semi-lobar, which is the next severe, is, 30, 40 years old, some of these kids.
Oh my gosh.
But most kids of what I've been told, around 11 or 12 is when they usually pass.
Oh man.
If they live.
If they live that long.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So that is a crazy diagnosis to get.
It is. Absolutely.
For a parent. That is unbelievable. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about that, because I don't know. I don't have a clue what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you do what you got to do at the
Absolutely.
time. I mean, God gives you the what you need when you need it. And there you go. So wow.
Yeah, she's an incredible child. So it's great. Yeah. And you never know what's going to happen. And for us it was a fluke. Nothing genetic, but there are genetic components to it.
Okay, so So if you have, what kind of health history what genetic would be?
Yeah, so for holoprosencephaly, it's called the Sonic the Hedgehog gene. And so that's what they call it.
Seriously, where did they come up with that?
I have no idea. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know it.
I mean,
I'm sure it probably has to do with a number or something.
That's kind of a fun name for a not fun thing.
That's
I mean, maybe that's why they did it.
Maybe they just come,
Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, they tell us that they're not going to make it through life, they shoot in.
Yeah, maybe that's, there you go. Could be, I don't know.
But yeah, for us, it was nothing genetic. I had 2 healthy boys afterwards, so.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing that led to it that we know of.
So what other impact, I'm sorry if I asked you this already, but I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around this. What other kind of invisible things did your daughter have in relation to all that? You were mentioning other side effects and stuff.
Right, absolutely. So she had mostly, they called it an occipital cyst. So basically a pocket of fluid in the rear right hemisphere of her occipital lobe.
Okay.
And that caused what's called cortical blindness. So
wow.
that basically means her eyes work just fine and they bring in the light, but she can't interpret what she sees. So the optic nerves had no place to what they call synapse, so connect, because it was all fluid.
Oh my gosh.
And so she
putting
could
pressure on the optic nerves, which was
right. Well, and there was no brain tissue, so there's nothing for it. It's just kind of free floating in there.
Oh man,
There's nothing to attach it to. Short circuit, if you will.
Short circuit. There you go.
Yep. So basically, she sees this information comes in, but she couldn't interpret it. So
oh my gosh.
she would see shadows, is what we've been told.
Okay.
Sometimes bright lights, but not like what color are the lights. You don't really know. Things of that nature. So yeah, and we tried. She really couldn't track. You couldn't like move stuff. She didn't really pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
She had, so before she was born,
yeah,
a neurologist told us that she would not be able to do more than 2 things at once. Okay.
Okay.
And so his analogy was she would not be able to talk on the phone and write directions.
Huh.
Well,
okay.
She couldn't make a fist and bend her arm.
Oh, geez.
So that's how it was. So she would try to eat and she would grab food, but then when she tried to make a fist, her hand would open, and she'd get.
When she tried to bring it up to her.
Yeah, she'd bring it up to her mouth, and her hand would open, which would frustrate her to death.
Well, yeah.
She hated it. She loved to eat when she was really little,
yeah.
and that was the only thing she could do on her own.
Okay.
And so she loved it, but we had to like give her a table that kept her arms bent,
okay,
so that she could just do this.
Oh wow. So it wasn't like a progressive thing. Like when she was little, she was able to do it, but when she got older, she couldn't. She just couldn't.
Yeah. So that was something that she had her whole life, but there was other things that she did lose as she got older.
Okay.
So she initially could walk in what's called a gait trainer.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So we would put her in that, and she could actually walk and take steps.
Oh wow.
But she couldn't see, so she'd run into walls. That was quite fun to watch.
Bumper cars every day.
It was total bumper cars.
Oh,
but
man.
at 3 years old, we're not sure what happened. We don't know if she had a stroke. We don't know, but she woke up one day and her legs were completely spastic and tight and pulled up, and it actually dislocated her hips, and she had to have surgery. And she never walked again.
Oh man!
And she lost her ability to eat. So they think what happened, it was a complication of surgery, and they actually desensitized her gag reflex, and so then she started aspirating, and so she lost her ability to eat at 3 years old. So
man. So is there that's great. That there's so much. There's so much there. Oh my gosh. So but there's nothing genetic with it though.
Not for us.
Okay.
For MaKenna, it was not genetic. They thought maybe she had a stroke in utero, but I've come to learn that's just something they tell you when they have no idea.
When they tell you a lot of stuff when they don't have any idea.
Right. They just can't say they don't know.
Why not? Why can't they say that? That's like maybe that's like day two of medical school. Don't ever tell them you don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's the. Oh man, that's crazy. Well, okay, all right. I don't want to because we're on a roll here, but we're gonna do a commercial here for a second, or a couple minutes, and we'll be back here in just a second. Let me do one thing first, and then. Here we go. All right. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, and I'm gonna put that up there because I think that's part of what we're going to talk about here in a minute. So we were talking before the commercial about a couple things, and I don't remember if we covered how widespread this is, like how common is this condition?
So it's actually extremely rare to live with this condition, but it is actually very common condition in pregnancy.
Okay.
So they actually say it's about 1 in 10,000 pregnancies, but almost all of them result in miscarriage. And so you just have no idea that that's what was going on. That's what caused the miscarriage, unless you were to have an autopsy. So most people don't.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Right. And spontaneous miscarriages usually happen pretty early on.
Sure.
Because something's wrong.
In utero, you're saying.
Utero. Okay. Yep. Because it's just your body's way of getting rid of something. If something's wrong.
Yeah.
And so most people don't even know that their child had this. But to actually live with it's pretty rare. It's becoming more and more common, I'm learning. And there's more and more kids. There's actually, interesting fact, in Colorado has the most per capita kids with holoprosencephaly in the world.
No, wow.
Yeah, there's the most here.
Huh.
And so the doctors here are pretty well versed in it, actually. Kind of impressive.
Must be the altitude.
That's what, I don't know. I don't know if it's people that are born here, they move here,
Must be the altitude.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Who knows? I mean, if you actually think about these days, she could have had a stroke, though she wasn't born here. She was born in Washington State.
Right.
But, it could have been lack of oxygen, like a hypoxic. I don't know. Who knows? But when MaKenna was born in 1999, there was only about 300 live births in the entire world.
Oh my gosh.
HPE. So
she's
rare.
A rock star. She was like rare.
Yes, very rare.
Oh my gosh.
And now you hear I hear about it all the time because I'm still in the support groups and different things.
Well, now it's it feels like it's common because you hear it a lot because of the support groups.
All over the world.
So I feel like we're talking about her in past tense. What
Yeah.
Tell me.
So MaKenna ended up passing away in 2010. So she was 10 years old. We were told, she'd live maybe 2 hours if she lived through the birth, and we got her for 10 and a half years. So absolute blessing.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yep. Great kid. She was lots of fun. She grew just like a regular child. She was, 70 some pounds. And if I threw her over my shoulder, her feet almost touched the ground at 10 years old.
Oh my gosh.
She was a pretty good sized kid. I'm short. If
I was going to say, to be fair,
I'm short,
but still at 10, that's pretty good.
So there's actually some genetics in my family that are tall, and I think she would have probably been one of them. Her younger brother is 5'9", so I think she would have actually been right up there with him.
Wow.
So kind of impressive, but yeah. So basically with her, so what I was always told was a lot of these kids, if they make it through the first year, that they live to be about 11 or 12, something to do with puberty and stuff like that. Usually takes them. Okay. And so she just quit breathing. It's just one of those things. We knew she started having some problems about a year before she passed. Okay. With her breathing and stuff like that. And so we were given a year, and so we just made the best of it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm so sorry. That's gotta be rough. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. I mean
it always is.
It's always rough to lose a loved one.
Yeah.
I very unique in how I kind of approach it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Before she was born, I made a resolve that our family wasn't going to live any different. We were going to include her in everything. Awesome. Take her on all trips, and, get regular babysitters. We'll just train them. No big deal.
Yeah.
And we did. We went to church and had our teenagers, and we just trained them to take care of her. And so we built that support system for ourselves, and we did everything. We took her to Hawaii before she passed. She was always out and about with us. We didn't hide her and keep her at home or anything. We just chose not to be scared of all the germs and stuff she could catch. We were just like, we're just going to let her have the best quality of life that she could possibly have.
Yeah.
And so, we just took it one day at a time. And awesome. It was basically as long as she was okay, I was okay. And so that was kind of how I took it. And the last year was a struggle for her. So for us, it was more of like, why make her suffer? I know, like, you don't want to ever lose anybody. That sucks.
Of course not.
But for us, it was more like, why would we be selfish to keep her here suffering?
Oh, that's true.
And so we let her pass. I mean, we could have trached her, we could have vented her.
Of course, you
and
could have
tried
kept her alive with machines. And,
we could have done all sorts of things, put her on life support. But we chose that, that's no quality of life. Right. And so we let her naturally go. And I believe that she's dancing and having a good time in a new body, having a blast up there. So
that's awesome. Oh man, I mean, it's not awesome, but you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely, no regrets.
No, exactly. Excuse me, exactly. So so for those years that you were blessed with having her, what did day to day? I mean, I'm sure it changed as she got older. But what was day to day looking like?
Yeah, and with her being our first kid, we didn't know any different. So it just was what it was. And so the baby monitor stayed in the room a lot longer than probably the average, and we would just have the monitor there. She had an NG tube when she first came, so a tube down her nose into her stomach to eat, and she yanked that out herself.
Oh, that was
after about to feed her.
For feeding. Oh,
exactly. She couldn't suck very well, and so it took her a really long time to drink a bottle. And of course, the doctors are all like, she's going to burn too many calories. But I didn't really care, so I fed her with the bottle. I didn't. It just sat on the couch, and it might take her 3 hours to get through 8 ounces, but I let her do it. And then,
there you go.
And at a year old, she was 30 pounds. You couldn't tell me that she burned too many calories.
She wasn't malnourished or anything.
No, because as soon as she could eat on her own, we let her.
So I'm telling you, I know that doctors go to school for a long time to sound like they know exactly what they're talking about, and not to discount the importance of doctors, because I wouldn't be here without them, but come on.
Yep.
What's the empirical evidence and the mom gene, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, you know,
know,
you can tell the doctors what's up. Sometimes.
Doctors never know, that's the biggest thing I think to tell parents, if you're ever, any child that's going to, you're told your child's going to have some type of disability when they're born, is they don't know. They have no idea.
Unless they've lived with it themselves.
Even if they lived with it, because every child's different.
That's true.
Every child's different. Right. And for me, God's in charge, right? And so you don't know. The doctor can tell you that your kid's going to pass and not going to make it through birth. You need to abort them, whatever. But, you're the parent. You make that decision for yourself. And, just know that the doctors don't know everything. And take it day by day,
They can't possibly know everything. Medical school only it's like gets them to the baseline.
Well, and I've been told HPE takes up about one sentence in a medical book, and they hear it in passing, and that's about it, So, and I will say, like when we moved here, that was one of the biggest things for the doctor. The doctor that we chose was on the back of his paper charting for coding. He actually had a code for all of rhythm cephalate. So he had worked with it quite a bit.
So that wasn't an accident. Hello?
Right.
Come on.
Right?
Okay. All right. There was no
one of 300 live births in the world, and the doctor you have knows about it.
And you happen to get this doctor.
Yeah. So that was great.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. So how did your kids, like I mean, it had to impact your family, your marriage, your children.
It absolutely did. And so my husband at the time was active duty military, so he was deployed a lot, so he wasn't there. I was, for the most part, a single mom. We ended up having 2 more boys. JW was born in 2002 and Colby was born in 2004. Colby was born here in Colorado, and Colby was always the helper. He's the one that wanted to help, get the diapers, get the food, help with the feedings. He'd lay in bed and read stories to MaKenna and read books. So it was really good.
Oh,
it was great.
I love it.
And when she passed, that was really, really hard on him. He was 5. JW was 7, but JW has got some autism stuff going on. Okay. And so he doesn't have that emotional connection as much. It sucked. Yeah. But for him, it was like, whatever. He just didn't quite get it. It didn't really matter to him. It mattered. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It mattered just how he showed it was very different. Yeah. But we knew she was going to pass. It was very obvious. We found her a couple days prior, and I'll spare everybody the details of, what led us to believe that she was passing. But, and it took her almost 2 days. And so, we just told the kids, say goodbye to your sister. She probably won't be here in the morning. Say goodbye. And it was really hard for Colby to wake up and his sister wasn't there because the coroner had come in the middle of the night and took her. So it was, the next day of going to the funeral home to see his sister, and that was really hard on him. Yeah.
So hard.
So
oh man.
Yeah.
And does it still affect him now? I mean, is it
Yeah.
how does, I mean, it's been a little while now.
Yeah, it's been a while. And so every year we always celebrated. So we did, we celebrated her birthday.
Oh, good.
And we celebrated the day she passed.
Okay.
And we call her Heavenly Anniversary.
Awesome.
And so on July 15th of every year, we would have macaroni and cheese and SpaghettiOs. That is her favorite food. So Kraft macaroni and cheese and SpaghettiOs, and that would be our meal for the night.
Yes.
We don't eat macaroni and cheese any other time of year. It's the only day.
Oh, see, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's the only
that.
day we have it. And then on her birthday, we have chocolate cake because that's her favorite. And we have pictures on her first birthday of her shoveling chocolate cake in her mouth. And so that's kind of how we celebrate. And
awesome.
This last year, my kids basically told me they didn't want to do it anymore.
Oh, no.
So they're
What?
18 and 20.
Oh, come on.
And it was more of, they're like, we understand it's how you remember, like how I remember her.
Okay.
To reminisce.
Okay.
She loved High School Musical. And so we would watch High School Musical and play Miley
they're-
Cyrus songs.
But they're kind of getting to the point that they have their own way to.
In a way,
it, or
I
is
think, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But for them, they said it's really hard. It's more of it's like, it almost brings up the anger that he especially Colby felt when he was little.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't choose to want to remember her in that way anymore. And so I think it was really hard for him to, come up and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Because he's 18 now. He doesn't have to be forced.
I'm glad he did, though, because otherwise,
absolutely.
I mean, it's better to do that than to silent suffer and then they, who knows what that would have brought on. So.
And so we had, with them growing up, they were extremely angry children, very angry kids. And Colby felt a loss. He was the helper and he didn't feel like he had a job left and who to be. And then we found out that his brother was autistic as well. And so Colby always lived in JW's shadow. Yeah. And so he grew up pretty angry. And so just until recently, and he's 18.
Okay.
So just recently, we had a pretty heart-to-heart discussion because he was very much, he'd walk in the house and all of a sudden he was an angry kid. And I'm like, what's wrong? Nobody did anything. No one set you off. No one said anything to you, but you're just mad at the world.
Yeah.
And would take it out on us. And I finally was eventually like, dude, you can't do this anymore. Like, you've got to stop. I'm not the source of your anger. Like, what's going on? And there for a while, he didn't really know.
Sure.
He didn't understand what it was.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was finally able to verbalize it. He said, when I walk into the house, I see myself as a 5-year-old little boy, angry and scared. My sister just passed. And so as a nurse and a medical professional, I was able to recognize that as a trauma response.
Yeah.
Yes. So we were able to talk about that, and he's totally done a 180,
nice.
Within the last 6 months. But these kids, siblings of individuals with disabilities and stuff really do struggle.
Sure.
And they really need, a lot of them don't even know they need therapy,
right.
But they need to build a connect with other kids their own age that are going through it. Yeah. And without that, it's really hard. And we we recognize that Colby and JW needed therapy. JW's therapist worked really well, and for Colby, it didn't work for him. And there wasn't any resources around. And we tried for years and couldn't really find. So we kind of just immersed him in sports and different things and got, good quality. Well, and good quality male and, influence for him to just really help the best it could. But
Oh man. Well, okay. So we gotta go to another commercial. I'm so sorry, but sorry, not sorry.
Right.
But here we go. And then we're gonna talk about KENNA Foundation when we come back because
sounds great.
because I'm chomping at the bit to talk about that. So here we go. All right, we'll be back in just a second. everybody. Here we go. We are still talking with Kim. Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry, this is blowing my mind, all this stuff, because, and this is part of the reason I love doing this, is because there's so many things out there that people aren't aware of, that I'm so glad that we get to make them aware.
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
this is awesome. And so, so tell us about, we've been talking about MaKenna and everything you've gone through with her, and how everything's going on there. What came out of that, though? There's a hope that came out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there definitely was. And I feel like certain things come round in a circle to fruition, if you will. Like every experience that we go through in life sets us up for a bigger purpose, for whatever, however you believe, for whatever reason, right?
Nice.
And so I believe that MaKenna was in my life for a couple reasons, and I actually have a joke about it. If it's not too, I don't think it'd be too offensive, I'll bring it on. But it's kind of a way of how I handle things and look at things. Growing up, I was a huge tomboy.
Okay.
And I always said I only wanted 2 boys if I ever had kids. And so MaKenna came, she's my first.
Sure.
And I say God gave me the only girl I could possibly handle, because I would never been able to play dolls, never been able to dress up, none of that. And then he took her, and now I have 2 boys.
And now you've got 2 boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so I know for some that might be a little crude, but that's kind of how I look at it. Just I think God's funny. And so it's just
he definitely has a
his
sense of humor.
Sense of humor is weird and odd as that particular one may be. But that's kind of how I look at it. It helps me to laugh. I'm a nurse. Sorry. Crude stuff, bodily fluids. That stuff is what makes me laugh. So
I've been in the hospital enough times, and I've met a lot of nurses, and yes, you have you have a warped sense of humor. Most
we
nurses,
absolutely do.
They talk about stuff that most people,
absolutely. It's the only way we can get through the day. The stuff that we see and go through, military is kind of the same way.
Oh man, exactly. Totally.
So how the hope that comes out of it. And so really, I believe the biggest lesson that our family learned through MaKenna was unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
How to truly unconditionally love somebody.
Awesome.
And so just learning that and bringing that out, and then being able to move forward, and it's really to help others, to really start to look at our struggle and what we've learned, and how can we help other people that are going through the same things. And so when we moved to Colorado in 2004, quickly learned that the healthcare system for individuals with disabilities is severely broken. There's not a lot of communication. The healthcare system in general is broken. But the communication amongst different agencies, different providers, is just, it's very lacking.
Mm-hmm.
We found that a lot of nonprofit organizations don't like to talk to each other. Mainly the way that we perceived it as from the parent side was, well, if we tell you who can help, then they might get more funding than us. Instead of this collaborative effort to bring our strengths together and work collectively to serve the community. So, and
that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
Let's work together and not make it a competition.
Exactly.
That makes a lot more sense.
And so in 2005, I vowed I was going to fix the healthcare system. I didn't know how at the time. I still was,
tall order.
Yeah, tall order. I didn't even start nursing school till 2006. So this is before nursing school. This is what spurred me to go to nursing school.
Nice.
But
from within.
Yep.
There you go.
Absolutely.
From within.
I had no idea. And so it's morphed for the sake of time. It's morphed from year to year as far as like how I was going to come about this. But I have launched the KENNA Foundation, which is in honor of my daughter, and it's my attempt to fix the healthcare system, basically.
Beautiful.
And so what we do pretty much is wraparound services for individuals with disabilities, their immediate caregivers. So any caregiver that's actually providing direct support to a child in the home for their family, and then the siblings. So as I talked about my sons, the struggles that they've gone through, those siblings truly need some support. And there's not a lot of help for them.
No,
and then, if the parents,
because his focus is always on the patient.
It's always on the kid. There's lots of different services and activities and things for the individual with disability. But what about the sibling? What about the parents and the caregivers that are burnt out and tired and stressed? And as they begin to continue to help this child, or it could be an adult, right? It takes a toll on your marriage. I mean, mine ended in divorce twice. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, it takes a toll on your marriage. It takes a toll on your kids. And if you're not healthy mentally and physically to be able to care for that child, then their
They're
quality
gonna
of care
suffer.
and life goes down.
Yeah.
And so our goal with the KENNA Foundation is to create a network of resources within the community of people that already provide the services. But let's be collaborative about it. Let's bring our resources together. And then as a nurse, case management's my thing. That's my
Nice.
jam.
Okay.
That's what I'm specialized in. And so I, you know, bring these families in. We do an assessment. We recognize the different gaps and identify them, whether it be a medical gap or if it be a socioeconomic or a psychosocial gap, and what they're receiving. And then we connect them with the resources in the community that can help fill those gaps, and we cover the cost.
Nice.
So that's what we do at the KENNA Foundation.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and that covers all kinds of stuff, probably for like all the different aspects of everything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have companies we work with grab bars or home modifications, house cleaners.
Nice.
We could probably even do meal prep. We have a special needs yoga teacher.
Okay.
You know, so if you know you have a child that you're just moving here and you don't have therapies and stuff for that kid yet, you could actually use like a yoga teacher. When it costs nearly as much, we could flip the bill and then gets the kid at least moving. And try to keep from getting contractions and stuff while, you know, if they're bed bound or something, until we can get a physical therapist in the home. But we also, you know, have connections to physical therapists, occupational therapists, pediatrician, whatever we need.
Marriage counselors.
We will, yeah. So absolutely, that's you know, we're looking.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because I'm sure that's going to be part of it too.
Absolutely,
right?
Yes. And so we're looking for, you know, businesses within the community that want to partner with us. So that we can begin to raise the funds necessary to be able to begin to cover these services and fill the gap.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I asked that because I might have something I want to talk to you about later about that.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we've got a referral for you, I think.
Yay.
So yeah. So okay. All that to say, how can somebody get involved? Somebody, they hear this, they go, "Oh, that's awesome. I want to help." How do they do that? So
there's lots of ways to get involved, actually. We have quite a few things. So let's start with the easiest. The easiest is on Monday nights at Colorado Springs Sports Fanatic down on Montebello and Academy. We host a free poker game. So anybody can come and play. You don't have to know how to play. It doesn't cost any money. The bar actually offers a food and drink special each night, and those proceeds go to help the foundation. And so you can do that. Also, you can become a member of our foundation. And I can post a link on the video here. Later through Zephy. It costs $50 a year. And basically you get access to some educational webinars monthly, and also discounts and different things at our events. And that money will go to help as well. Always looking for volunteers, looking for, like I said, business partners to partner with us that already provide some services, and then we would help cover those costs. And it can be anybody. You do not need to be a medical professional. It can be a house cleaner. It can be a marriage counselor. It could be a construction worker. Just anybody that's willing to just kind of help. You know, laundry. I had a family that moved here recently, and they needed their laundry done, and so, you know, just coming and picking up the clothes and going to wash them. So lots of different ways to get involved. Website, which is KennaNursingServices.com. There's a donate button under the foundation. You can click that and become a monthly donor. Anything like that.
And it's .com. So is it a nonprofit or is it a?
So KENNA Nursing Services is the for-profit that feeds the KENNA Foundation.
I see. Okay.
So it's a .com. The KENNA Foundation is housed right there on one of the tabs for now, but we are a 501c3 public charity.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, that threw me off because sometimes it's
absolutely.
.org. So I just wanted to make
sure.
We
will get it eventually, but right now it is housed on the for-profit site. Yes.
Nice. Okay. I wondered how to do that because we've talked about doing stuff like that too, and I've never understood. Maybe we'll talk about that later too.
Well, I can help you with that too.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff.
You give me a referral and I'll help you out.
Bring it on. Yeah, that's how it works around here. Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the reason why we're doing that. I mean, this is also for that too, because we want to have, you know, that network of resources for people, even if it's for something different. They're watching this right now and they're going to say, oh man, okay, well, maybe I should look back at some other shows. There's maybe some resources about some other condition or some other thing. So absolutely. Yeah. So thank you. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want to get out there. So is there anything else that you want to get out there in our last minute or two? Yeah.
I mean, not a whole lot. I mean, just know that you're not alone. Like Jeff says, you know, right? You're not alone. There are people here that have walked in similar shoes. We can't all say we've walked in your shoes, but in similar shoes, and we are here to help and guide and direct best we can. KENNA Foundation's here to support you. If you need anything, just reach out. My number is 719-639-8396, or you can always email me at kennanursing@gmail.com. So great.
Awesome. And is there any, like, we got a couple more minutes here.
Okay, awesome.
Do we have any like fun stories or anything? Or, like, I know you showed me an amazing, beautiful little picture that you took.
I did.
With her, that she was sleeping and she looked amazing.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
absolutely. Actually, one of the funniest stories I love about MaKenna was it was her 10th birthday. So just a few months before she passed away.
Okay.
We were actually at martial arts. It was sunny out, and so we normally had sit her in the car, or we put her in her wheelchair and let her watch. Sometimes if weather was bad, we would take her up the stairs and lay her on a couch.
Okay.
And so everybody knew her, but it was sunny and she was sleeping. So I had opened the car door, put a blanket in the window so she wouldn't get burned by the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And was doing martial arts, and so the back of the martial arts building opens up. So we're like literally like 5-10 minutes from her. We can see her.
Yeah, you're like,
we're not like in a building away. And so we're doing martial arts.
Don't
and everything.
worry, they didn't desert their child in a closed car or anything.
Right.
Exactly.
And I came to check on her during a break, and she looked at me and she whipped her head away. Like, how dare you leave me? It's my birthday. And so that was great. It was fun.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
The personality, she couldn't talk, but her personality sure came through.
Sometimes when they, I at a school that I work at, during the week, sometimes there's last year, I don't think they're there this year, but there's a girl that's in a wheelchair, and she has, I think she's got an iPad or something that she uses to communicate, but it's, oh my gosh, she is so expressive. I mean, yes, this is easy to be expressive,
right?
But man, when you can't verbally say something to somebody, or you can't, it's almost like your body, it's almost like it kicks in with another sense of communication. It's awesome. So
it's really cool to see.
Man, well, yeah, it's, oh man, I'm so excited that we got to do this, because there's, I mean, you said what, 1 in every 10,000?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty common.
It's a lot more common than I would have thought. So so let's get it out. We're gonna get, like she said, we'll put the information on there, and I'm gonna put this word up here one more time, because that thing blows my mind. I'm just gonna say
Holoprose.
Holoprose.
Encephaly.
There
you go.
Right, okay.
Yeah, perfect. Good job.
All right, everybody get that? Would you say it one more time? Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, okay. We're gonna let's see. Next show is gonna be on, what day is it today? Tuesday? It's Tuesday today. Some days are better than others. Oh, so Friday. Join us on Friday, because Joy Roan is going to be with us, and she's going to be talking about aneurysms. And she, Joy.
Yes,
right?
I do. She's amazing. She's actually on my board for the KENNA Foundation.
What?
Yes.
Get out.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that on Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll get a little plug for you. But that's amazing. She's incredible. You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to tune in and watch it live. If you don't watch it live, watch it streaming. But man, it's going to be awesome. And so we're looking forward to doing that. And we will see you on Friday. Thank you, everybody. And just remember, there is always hope. Okay. We'll see you Friday.